Hi, everyone. We're joining you from the busy Paris Blockchain Week, and there are a lot of protocols here. But one of the protocols with probably the most presence in the event is Chiliz, and they just happen to also be our partner, which is exciting. But here I have Max from Chiliz to talk a little bit more about Chiliz, what it's like building on Chiliz, and well, give you just a little bit of that idea of the ecosystem. So, Max, if you were to explain Chile to someone who maybe hasn't heard of it, and especially to developers who are looking for places to build, how would you describe it?
It's a good question actually, especially in kind of a crowded EVM development world. And we have obviously our moniker of we're the sports blockchain. I'd start by describing it that way. The first question that always comes up is like, okay, well, what is that? What does that mean?
Right.
The sports blockchain. And at the end of the day, it's a bit of a two-pronged approach for us. On the technical side, not to sound, let's say, cynical, but across the EVM universe, there's not really that much, sea change technological differentiators between where you would build something, right?
Okay.
It's all fairly similar technology at the end of the day by design. So our major differentiator for why you should build on our chain is the things that make us unique. One of which is an asset-based point of uniqueness, where we're essentially the only chain where instead of having one native governance token, Chiliz, we also have a library of over 70 IP-branded fungible assets. They're also native, right? We're the management entity for them. We work with the sports teams. Each of those is already attached to an existing community, some of which are at this point 6+ years old and fairly mature. And then also that we have access to a business network within sports that is, I believe, extremely valuable, especially to startups, with the caveat that I think unlike a generalistic chains, Chiliz obviously excels at, let's say, B2C retail-facing utility platform development, because the things that make us special, where we punch above our weight, we can't necessarily, for example, compete right now with the DeFi ecosystem that other protocols have, nor do we necessarily want to, but we can compete when it comes to finding product market fit for developers. So if you're building a Web3 game and it's focused on football, why should you build on Chiliz? We have hundreds of thousands of onboarded, we call them consumers because they have assets that we've minted in concert with the teams that we can reach out to directly, right? To put it, I guess, in most simple terms, I believe if you're in that kind of retail-focused utility platform space, we're much more valuable and helpful for you as a developer to get from 0 to 500 or 1,000 users on your platform than almost any other protocol. And to be able to place you in even from a market perspective, where you're sitting side by side with very large sports brands and communities of those sports brands. And I think that's what makes us unique. I hope it's not too much of a cop-out answer, but because it's not, at the end of the day, it's not some esoteric tech angle that makes us unique. It's the fact that I think, unlike the majority of crypto protocols, for the past 6 years, we've really been focused on building out this business infrastructure that underpins our technical infrastructure, because we always thought that the bigger issue in crypto wasn't how do you make the innovations. Everyone's working on the innovations. They're moving at lightning speed, even in winter markets. But no one's focusing on the infrastructure you need to build to actually make this endless notion in crypto of adoption realistic. That's the problem you need to solve. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, and I suppose also the community side of it is people, I imagine, who understand both sports and blockchain, and probably they're able to merge those two worlds much more efficiently than if you're trying to build a project that's in sports and some other EVM type chain.
100%. 100%. That's actually a really interesting point that you made, because where we've excelled at as we've been building the Chiliz community, even over and above the fan token community since 2018, is, most people assumed 5, 6, 7 years ago that to increase adoption of crypto, you would have to. The only correct way is to educate non-crypto people and get them to start using the products. Use the wallets, etc. Buy and trade assets. But we realize that that's not exactly true. That our core market is, at the end of the day, the hundreds and hundreds of millions of crypto enthusiasts, no matter how casual they are, because they have an overlap. We're the smaller market. They have an overlap with sports. Crypto enthusiasts are sports fans because there's way more sports fans in the world than there are crypto enthusiasts. And kind of through that angle, it's much easier for us to kind of explain almost lengthwise. Crypto isn't just you buying one token on an exchange app and holding it and that's it, or buying it on a non-exchange app, even on your banking app. Crypto can be all these other either utilitarian or fun or sentimental or community-based angles, and it can spread around dozens or hundreds of assets and NFTs as well. And that's much easier to do already for a somewhat onboarded person. And the way we've ended up realizing you can do it is if you really, attach the IP and brand and community and kind of the sentiment of in our case, it's football teams in the correct way, they'll come and they'll get deeper into the world of crypto that isn't very strictly the speculative, I kind of don't care about the technology, I just want to make a 10x return point, which is at the end of the day, I don't care what anyone says. That's the core decade-old, narrative in crypto that keeps it popular.
Yeah. If you were to now plug a project on Chiliz, what excites you at the moment?
It's a good question. Going back to the earlier point, a lot of the startups that come to us are kind of from this, I don't call it a fringe space, but they are, the game, marketplace, crypto, social media, fan engagement, loyalty solution type world where they're trying to find a way for a use case essentially for blockchain technology that isn't an exchange. The one I don't want to say I like all of them, but the one I'm really, really excited about because it's with a team and a founder that I've really respected as Xander Wang for a long time is called World Football Craft, which we already announced. I believe he'll be launching a beta in the summer or late summer. I don't take that as an official quote. I'm just I'm guessing, and obviously things get delayed. But I just think it's a very interesting game. It's the same team who created the Top Goal gaming experience on B&B, and very established developers. Actually, ironically, not a startup. It is a 14-year history in developing mobile sports games for the Asian and Chinese market specifically. But they're making a game called World Football Craft, which is an MMORPG fantasy football manager where everything is tokenized.
Nice.
And every player plays in the same persistent world. So the team that I make, or multiple teams that I make, live in the same universe that you make, and we interact in real time. We compete with each other in real time. Everything is AI generated, so the new players that are coming in essentially are literally born, grow up, and retire and die, all via just procedural AI generation. And everything moves at 12x speed, so there's a World Cup every 4 months where the entire community base of the game competes, right? And when you come into the game, you literally are faced with a 3D rendered world, and you pick which country you want to make your team in. And there's even a meta game of picking which country, because obviously, maybe if you pick France, there's a lot of people in France. They want to be the French champions. So if I pick Lesotho in Southern Africa, it's just less competitive for me to have a really a top three champion team in that country, and then be able to get into the World Cup as the champion of my nation.
Oh, man.
I think as it's a unique concept I just haven't seen as a spin and an evolution of like the football management game. It's just very deeply exciting because it's not like a majority of crypto games I've seen where it's a very shallow gaming experience. They have this management experience that actually every football game you play, you can play it passively and just see the results based on statistics, but you can also play it actively via quick time events.
Yeah.
And not to ramble on too much about them, but I'm a gamer at heart, and that's the first game that kind of came through our doors where we didn't just have, or at least me, I'll speak only for myself, I didn't just have my kind of business hat on. But I was actually really excited because I was like, oh, I'd download this. I'd play this. I'd
Right.
probably waste a lot of hours doing this game, if they execute it the way that they want to. So
Yeah, we'll link to the project in the
Sure.
episode notes. So just one question, maybe jumping into the future. So I think this cycle is really like a moment for Chiliz. It's everywhere. I see it a lot. If you try to predict and look into the future, next cycle, what are we talking, some years from now? Where is Chiliz?
it's a good question. I would hope relevant. You never know. Crypto's a very
let's start
roller
there,
coastery
yeah.
space. Well, I don't want to kind of over intellectualize the answer because I would hope we will have achieved to a great extent at least the promises that we've made. 6 years ago in 2018, we wrote the white paper and the original business plan. I think I wrote on the front page, the first page, that like our vision is to eventually become the sports blockchain. And we realized that, okay, you can't just kind of say that and then it becomes magically true. We needed legitimacy in both sports and crypto to make that real. So we thought, okay, well, let's focus on the product first. We built Socios. We created this idea of fan tokens. I think we're lucky and persevered to an extent where, that did have its viral moments during the pandemic and in the lead up to the last bull cycle. We learned both a lot about blockchain and crypto and sports and what it takes to really operate at this intersection of, in our case, it was sports and the native kind of blockchain industry. But it was still just us doing it. It's very centralized. And it kind of hit us. We're like, well, I think we could finally launch this chain. Like, people will build on our chain. We have this business network. When people realize that we're legit, we're not going to disappear. We're one of the, I would say, few companies that said what we were going to build in 2018 and then actually built it, without really much compromise. But we're a baby chain right now, right? We launched technically in May of last year. It's less than a year ago. We spent the majority of that time up until today just, integrating oracles, partnering with you guys and other kind of development solutions, integrating with exchanges, kind of doing all that really, really basic stuff that you just need to get online to even become an operable chain that's even an option for developers, let alone an appealing option. And the developers are finally coming, and our goal is to be in a place where we don't even own the utility roadmap of fan tokens, right? Where the PSG fan token is, you can plug it into 50, 100, 200 different platforms for either banal uses or something really innovative. We don't care, but we just operate, Socios as a home base and mostly Chiliz as this network. And that requires a lot of development, a lot of people choosing us to build their products, a lot of consumers choosing our assets as the assets that they invest their money and time and energy into. And we're not delusional. I don't think it's going to happen in the next year. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. I think if we're lucky in the next 5 or 10 years, when you really look at the ecosystem, we can say, well, look, our ecosystem, it's at least some fraction as rich as, the Ethereum ecosystem. It's not like we're at zero and everything else is at one. And I think that's enough. I think people maybe underestimate exactly how much work and drudgery goes into that. But
Yeah.
that's the goal. And it goes without saying that I hope we're not the only ones minting sports assets. It's one thing if our fan tokens are used by hundreds of third-party developers and companies, but I'd also like to, hundreds, thousands of other NFTs, fan tokens that aren't minted by us at all. Grassroots teams or regional leagues that decide that they want to do something as well, that work with either a white label solution or develop it completely independently. And it's kind of the world I want to see.
Yeah. Where can our listeners and people watching follow for more information about Chiliz? Is it Discord? Where are you guys most active?
We're active kind of across the board, so it depends on where you guys want to get your news. If it's Twitter, X, I just call it Twitter.
Got it. Well,
Telegram, Discord, we're active everywhere.
yeah, we'll link to all of that in the notes. And thank you so much for your time, Max, and thank you for watching. And yeah, check out Chiliz and also the tools that Tatum provides that help you build on Chiliz much easier. So good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.